Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. I have Jim Sterne, President, Rising Media Incorporated, on the show with me today. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right, you've got one of the most exciting venues that I really ever ran across. It's a moving target. Everybody needs it, but very few of us know how to effectively use it, and that's artificial intelligence for marketing. Let me get some background on you before we dive into this subject so that the audience gets a well-rounded view of you. You've got a bunch of books that you published, you've been in this industry for a while, but I want, in your own words, to give us some highlights on what separates you from the rest of the world with your background, who you are too.
I like to describe myself as a professional explainer, and I gave that name to myself because I sold Apple IIe's at a retail store in the 80s. I sold business computers to companies that never owned a computer before in the 90s. In 2000, I was trying to get everybody on the internet. In 2005, I was explaining online analytics and how that can help with marketing. And then along comes artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it was time for me to do another deep dive so that I can explain to business people how valuable the technology is, not how to do it, not how to become a data scientist, but how it can be useful.
I get it. Drill down into that for me.
So there's a huge amount of hype about artificial intelligence and machine learning, which I believe is deserved. But so where do I use it and how do I use it and where is it important and is it going to eat my job? It is extremely useful for things that we do in marketing that are repetitive, have lots of data around them, high transactions, but low risk. So display advertising, email marketing, social media response. If you do millions of impressions a day, then that's very high volume. And if you put the wrong message in front of the wrong person, it's not a terrible problem. It's not like running your self-driving car into a telephone pole. But it is the opportunity for the machine to learn from its mistakes.
Let me get into this with you.
Sure.
Because marketing is a big part of what I do too. And I see that this is really the wave of the future. You have to laser focus, but you've got to be able to do the analytics on the back end so that you find the right people that are receptive to your right message with them, and then that will bring them to you to buy. It's actually better if you can get it working right. I got a guy in my lobby right now that's got private cloud and artificial intelligence, but as of yet, I haven't met anybody that really makes it work. Talk to me about that person that can make somebody see my message through their scouring of the social media landscape and then get the right buyer, because that's the effective part. I heard about your biotech company. I want to buy into your stuff. Don't waste my time, and I'm ready to buy now. That's what everybody wants to hear. How do we make that happen?
Think about marketing in three eras. The old Mad Men era was smoke-filled room. Who's our target audience? What message might they respond to? Let's spend a lot of money and get our message out there and hope that it works.
Hope our slogan catches somebody.
Or our jingle, or yes.
Right.
The next phase, the next era, is analytics, where we look at all the results and we crunch the numbers and we try to glean insights out of those numbers to say, well, these people kind of responded to this and those people didn't respond to that, so let's adjust everything just so. The third era, the machine learning AI era, is doing that piece on the computer. It is sending enough messages out to enough people and looking at all the responses to fine-tune its message to the right kinds of people constantly and in real time.
Yes, I get that. So how do we do that? I mean, it's one thing for us all to say the big, broad artificial intelligence, machine learning, and it's going to cure the cancer that we have for sales and business development. But it's another thing to actually drill down to it and say, here's how it works, and here's the effective history of it working correctly. You know what I mean?
I do, and it works very well if you have a lot of data and you're sending out a lot of email or you're posting a lot of messages on social media so that the machine has a great deal of feedback to play with. If you're a small, medium-sized business and you have small, medium-sized marketing budget, then you're going to want to turn to the venture capitalist-funded startups who are looking at your data and all the data that's available out in the world to try to match up the people who are out there with your offering. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it yourself, the way to be successful is with a lot of data and high transaction volume.
What if you don't have a lot of data?
Then you want to go out and use what data you have against all the data that's out there. So what I have is several thousand customers in my database, and I am going to look at everything I know about them and match that up with everything that is known about people out on the advertising networks. Advertising networks are collecting millions of cookies, and they're watching all of those cookies where they're going. Oh, you went to a sports site. Oh, you went to a medical site. Oh, you went to a car site. And if the machine looks at my data and my customers and say, oh, look at their cookies. They go to these places. Let's find other people who go to those places because there's a bazillion people out there and we have a handful of attributes we can match up. They are more likely to be interested than just random demographics.
I get it. Let me get back on track because you hit a passion point with me with your topic, and it's truly a passion point. What are the marketing people these days getting wrong about the analytics?
The expectation that it's magic, the expectation that I can just turn on Google Analytics or Adobe and it's going to give me answers. It gives me data, and I still have to do the number crunching, and I still have to understand my business goals and my customers well enough to glean meaning out of that data. The expectation that data is clean and beautiful. It's messy, and it takes a lot of work to clean it up so that it can be analyzed. So high expectations is the biggest problem. When we move over to artificial intelligence, same thing. I expect it to be magic. I can just skip this whole analytics thing and let the machine do the work. And no. So the humans are absolutely required to do three things. One, decide what problem we're solving. So what do you want the machine to do? Number two, what data should it consider? If you give it too much data, then everything is 50-50 and it won't come up with a recommendation. If you give it too little, and by that I mean variety, if you give it too few things to look at, then it's going to give you an absolute confident answer that's wrong. If you give it too many variables, it's just sort of a gray mess. So what problem are we solving? What data should we consider? And then out the back end, it's the smell test. Is the machine making a reasonable recommendation? The machine might say, oh, the best way to achieve your goals is to send the same person 5,000 email messages a day. Okay. Which may statistically be correct, but from a human perspective,
No, absolutely. It stinks, just like you showed, yeah. All right, let me move on for just a second. I have a million questions for you, but the last one for now is marketing. What does it look like 5 years from now?
Oh, science fiction. The future is my personal AI agent telling me that my dishwasher is about to fail, that it has found the best value that fits in my kitchen and fits the decor of my kitchen, and it will be delivered on Tuesday. That's marketing.
Predictive thinking. Okay. Jim, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I want to have you back again and again and again because everybody needs what you do. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You've been watching CEO Money. Thanks for joining.